Hey guys, welcome back to Wildhood Diaries. We just finished recording an exciting conversation with Kiyan Mugaseth, who's currently working as a naturalist at one of the properties in Kanha Tiger Reserve. He's also a fellow content creator, so we had a lot to take back from this conversation. We've divided the video into three parts, and here's the third part. Oh, and before we get into it, make sure you've subscribed so you don't miss any of our videos. So also, Kian, as somebody who's working in the wildlife space, what do you think about tourism as an industry, and what do you think about ethical ecotourism? What are your
Mm,
thoughts on this? Because that's something that I'm always conflicted about. Whether tourism
aren't
is
we all?
yeah, whether tourism is right, complements wildlife conservation, or does it affect it? What do you think about it? What are your views on it?
I'll start with one phrase. If used rightly, tourism can be one of the biggest methods of conservation. Because, see, let's look at the basic facts. I would say I'm decently pro-tourism, but I'm just going to evaluate it on a very, what do you say,
Rational. Mm,
rational point of view.
mm.
So helps local communities, in, creates economies, then obviously jobs, money, employment. Third is there is patrolling done also in the area. So that natural patrolling of tourism tigers keeping track. Then obviously there are other things where education awareness makes people fall in love. If it wasn't for tourism, I would never have, was it for tiger tourism, I would have never been here or anything.
Exactly.
And in terms of, and yeah, of course, you get to see tigers also better, get to spend time with them, observe them. That's just a few basic things. Then obviously there are the negatives, the disturbance caused to animals, the fuel used, petrol and whatnot. And then obviously there's now an issue where, the rates are quite high, may not be very affordable for everyone. To evaluate it personally, without tourism, we would probably lose a lot of our wildlife, if you think about it. To talk about local economies, I'll give you a very specific example. Tadoba Andhari Tiger Reserve, everyone's heard of it. And perhaps one of the most well-known prominent tigers of that reserve is none other than, I believe, T126, his name, Chota Matka. After he separated from his mother, Choti Tara in Kolara Kaur, he moved
Wow.
up north. When he moved up north, he fought with a rival male called Mowgli. Very ironic because that tiger looks more like Sher Khan. Anyway, so he fought with Mowgli. Mowgli tore one of his uh, lips, and he retreated into the edge of the park, fed on cattle, grew back stronger, and then entered the region again. Chased out Mowgli, fought him off, and took over the three large areas: Nimdela, Navegaon Ramdegi, and Alizanza. So Nimdela especially, before Chota Matka's entry and capture over the territory, very few people actually knew about Nimdela. When he was seen there, people started going there more often. The local communities and the people around also benefited a lot more. Obviously, now that he's had cubs with three females, in 1 year, he mated with three tigresses and gave birth to around 10, 12 cubs.
Oh.
Solid fun he had. But now his cubs that are there carry on his line, and obviously they're also quite bold. So tourism has reached different parts of their like today in Tadoba, people will tell you you go to the core, but do buffer also, because in buffer there are sometimes good or even better sightings. Not
Mm,
sometimes. There are better sightings, honestly, sometimes in buffer than core. There's that
mm,
one viral video of a tiger fighting off a honey badger, two tigers with one honey badger. I don't know if you've.
Correct. I've seen it.
That
I've
was in
seen
the buffer zone. I think
Oh,
Junona buffer zone in Tadoba. Choti
okay.
Madhu's cubs fighting off a honey badger. It's very interesting to see how a single tiger can, create an
Exactly.
economy like that, or, help increase an economy and whatnot. So
Mm,
definitely that's one thing. Also, the disturbance, yes, I agree. A lot of the times vehicles don't, and jeeps and drivers may not behave very well in the park. Behave as in respect distance properly with
exactly.
animals. Like, yeah, there are definitely crowds for tiger sightings, I admit. I have been there also. I've seen it. Sometimes I've been part of it also. I usually But if I'm there and if a tiger is there walking head on, perhaps I always give space. Before I
Mm.
came to Kanha, I was in Umred. And on our fourth safari, we got to see this beautiful tiger. It's called F2, walk head on. And immediately, always you give space because everyone wants the best sighting, but no one wants to give
Exactly.
space. And the
Mm.
only way a tiger would walk head on is if you give it space. A lot of the times, I feel people may not give them space because they want that, close sighting to take it on their phone video or something. So
Exactly.
always think about it. So
But I
yeah,
don't think it's so much of an issue in Kana, is it? Because
no,
my
no, 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 no,
observation
no.
is Kana's jeep
Mm.
drivers and everybody involved there is
Uh,
extremely respectful of the
yeah.
wild. Is my
There
observation
are, yeah, there will
an
be a
odd
few
occasion.
people here and
Yeah,
there
I'm sure.
or occasionally, but there
I'm
are
sure.
a lot of measures taken now to
Correct.
curb crowding in tiger reserves. Even in Tadoba and Kanha also, there is a 10-minute rule. You can't
Mm.
stay in one spot for more than 10
Correct.
minutes. You
Correct.
have to, once you'll get a buzz on the
Mm.
GPS,
Mm. Mm.
you'll have to move at least 100 meters away.
Correct.
So that's one way where you curb
Which is a
crowding in
great
one
measure.
specific.
Yeah.
It's fantastic. Then
We don't
obviously
have
there's the
those
speed.
measures down south in Karnataka,
No.
Tamil Nadu, Kerala. We don't have those measures. And I think one more thing is you don't have
Hmm.
cellular network inside the
Hmm.
core zone, right?
Ganha?
Yeah. Do you?
No, not at
Very,
all.
very.
No.
We have that now
No.
here. We didn't used to
Uh,
have it earlier, but
uh,
now in
hmm.
Nagarole and
Hmm.
Bandipur, you have cellular
Hmm.
network throughout. So there's all the jeep drivers calling each other and
Yeah,
informing
yeah,
them of
yeah.
the sighting, which is again, I
True.
mean, it's hard to have an opinion about because you
Yeah,
want
yeah.
everybody to see the tiger. You
Hmm.
do genuinely want
True, true,
everybody to
true.
get a glimpse of the tiger because that's what most people are coming for. And
Hmm.
but yeah, it shouldn't
Hmm.
sort of go into the extent of
True.
disrespecting nature to just
Yeah,
get that
yeah.
sighting, which
True.
is my
True.
sort of view on it.
But see, there are also other things. For example, only 20% of the park is actually open for tourism. And
Exactly.
the roads that traverse through the region are only a small region of a huge landscape.
Correct.
And in the words of the great Valmik Thapar, tigers don't live on roads. They come to the roads because, yes, they do like walking on roads. And when
They
they
do like.
walk, it's always
Correct.
important to give space because of their padding and everything.
Correct.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%.
Yeah.
About the matter of messaging, sometimes, yeah, I've seen it before in
Mm.
places around.
Mm.
But yeah, like for example, when I was in Umred before I came, in Umred is still, I mean, it was declared a wildlife sanctuary only in 2012, 2013. It was not even a
Mm.
tiger reserve, mind you.
Correct.
Not even a national park or a tiger reserve. Yeah, it's still a wildlife sanctuary. The guides there, they're very humble, respectful, and they want everyone to see a tiger. There's this lovely sense of brotherhood within a lot of the guides, even in Kanha also.
Mm.
So sometimes when they meet also, they'll share information a lot. That's the iconic thing.
Correct. That's an
क्या
iconic.
दिखा हाँ आगे दिखा क्रॉस हुआ चलो चलो
कुछ
चलो
नहीं.
like that.
मैं
Yeah,
तो सिर्फ
कुछ
कुछ
नहीं
नहीं
आगे
दिखा.
दिखा. Yeah, yeah.
Throughout my
But
time in the forest, is just kuch
yeah,
nahi all the time.
that always happens. That always
Yeah.
happens.
Yeah.
But yeah, I some sharing information, like speaking in between and communicating, I think is one way, it can help social bonds between the people, the forest department and the staff and the drivers and guides, everyone working in the park. But yeah, there are definitely a lot of unethical practices that need to be stopped. One really good thing were the elephant safaris that were banned in
Yeah.
central India.
Exactly.
In the
Exactly.
past, you could either go like, sometimes you go in your Jeep. If there's a tiger sitting in the bushes, you pay the Mahut somewhat 2,000 rupees, you get on
Go
the
on.
elephant, just
That's
wait for
not.
the
Yeah.
tiger,
Yeah.
or go
Exactly.
look for another tiger. There's always
Exactly.
different things. Better
Yeah.
ways also to see animals.
Exactly.
And one really unethical practice, which I've not seen before, but I've read about a lot of cases and heard about, is using elephants sometimes to drive tigers out. Some
Mm.
people actually do that in central
Mm.
India, but now they're very strict about it. They don't allow it anymore. But yeah, what I can think of right now, there are
Yeah.
definitely a lot of things. But yeah, like I said, if used rightly, tourism can be a very effective tool of wildlife conservation. But the one thing I think people should learn is just safari etiquette, which I feel is very important. Being silent, giving
Exactly.
distance.
Exactly.
Like, for example, if you know there's a tiger in one part of the forest wants to cross the road, the more distance you give it, the tiger may walk more calmly across the road. But if you stick your jeeps and give a more narrow space, sometimes it depends on the
True.
tiger's personality
Correct.
also. That's one
Correct.
more thing.
True. True.
But for example, if you give proper distance, the tiger may walk slowly. But if you give a much more narrow distance, sometimes that individual tiger
It's
may feel
nervous.
more nervous. So it'll run
Yeah.
across the road. So your
Exactly.
sighting also would be shorter if you think
Yeah.
of it from
Exactly.
that point of view
Yeah.
also. And
Yeah.
yeah,
Exactly.
obviously it stresses them out and everything. But yeah, definitely there needs to be better etiquette and manners and rules followed. Like the GPS installed to monitor where the jeeps are going is superb.
And also the speed,
It
I think, right, is restricted.
Yeah, the speed
Yeah.
limit. Yeah, yeah.
Correct.
It monitors where you're going, sticking on the road. And yes, speed limit. If you go like in Kanha, the speed limit is 30. The only
Correct.
time you can exceed the speed limit is if, there's a genuine issue, like emergency or
Mm,
something.
mm,
If a
mm,
god is charging at you or
mm,
something, you will
mm,
have to.
mm.
But otherwise, and yeah, staying in the GPS having the 10-minute rule of staying in that one place for more than 10 minutes is
Those are
more
nice
allowed.
measures.
Those are
Yeah.
really lovely measures,
Really
really
nice
lovely.
measures.
And sometimes it can affect your sightings, but at the end of the day, you have to think of the bigger picture.
Exactly. It's
Yes.
about the bigger picture. That's the point I
True.
wanted to make. I think people, anybody
Hmm.
concerned with the forests of
Hmm.
South India, if you're watching this, I think here are some pointers, some points to take.
Definitely. But
Yeah.
can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
What is happening with your parks in South India now?
With
Like,
all the conflict and all the issues
yeah,
and the ban on safaris.
ban
It's
on
a
safari, I found really ridiculous. I mean,
exactly.
to
It's
tell you
a
because,
how do we put it? It could be a sort of hidden, agenda behind the
hmm,
whole issue. But I mean, it's there is conflict has risen over the last couple of weeks or months on the
hmm,
fringes of a couple of these tiger reserves in the
hmm,
Ramnagra district and stuff, where there
hmm,
have been people being killed. So it's gotten a little,
hmm.
concerning for the villages around these places.
Yeah,
So
no,
I mean, I actually don't understand the point of banning safaris altogether
hmm,
for that. But their claim
hmm,
is that, safaris are creating so much pressure on these animals within the park that they're being forced out of their natural territories and they're being forced out of the park,
yeah,
which is leading to these kills, which I don't buy. But I'm sure we need to, take into account the concerns of the villagers because having people
hmm.
killed is definitely never a nice thing, and that
Absolutely.
is
Human
a very
life
serious
matters
issue.
a lot at the end of the day. It's very
Yeah,
easy for us to say sitting in cities
exactly.
or.
Sitting in the comfort of our homes, it's easy to have an
Hmm.
opinion on these. But yeah, and I think the safaris are back now, and
They are?
yeah,
Oh,
some of
okay.
them are back. So
That's a
let's
good
see.
thing.
Yeah, it is. Because yeah, like you
Everyone's
said,
probably.
these things, it's a
Hmm.
cycle, right? It all
Hmm.
fuels each other. Like I agree with you
Hmm.
when you say that tourism really drives conservation. I do agree because
Hmm.
many of the people who are in conservation probably wouldn't have been in this field if not for tourism,
Hmm.
right? So I
Yeah.
completely agree with you. But ethical means is something that we need to sort of
True.
look at a little more in detail. But
Also,
yeah,
more than just safaris, any place that allows you to potentially hold animals or, pet them, they are not really
yeah,
ethical.
yeah.
Yeah. Because
That's
proper rescue
yeah,
rehabilitation centers
exactly,
don't typically show
yeah,
their animals or put them on display. That's more of a
exactly,
zoo.
exactly.
So, yeah.
We know what's being into that, and we all agree with this. We then say nothing. But yeah, I mean, to
But
change the
yeah.
topic, something that
Hmm.
something I remembered while we were having this conversation is
Hmm.
another incident in Kanha where we were in the park. You have a lot of these man-made ponds, right? In
Yeah, the
Kanha.
water holes.
So
Yeah,
there was
yeah.
one of these ponds, a very little
Hmm.
tiny pond, where there was a
Hmm.
cheetal fawn stuck. So he was
Huh.
trying to get out, and
Huh.
with the baby hoofs, it wasn't able to get out because
Hmm.
I think the slope of the
Yeah,
pond,
it's
the cement
slippery.
was
Yeah, yeah,
very slippery
yeah.
and it wasn't able to get out.
Huh,
And
huh.
the mother was about 20 meters away, standing
Oh,
in the
okay.
thicket, and she was
Huh.
giving out alarm calls. And so we stopped. There was nobody around us. It was just our Jeep, and we stopped
Huh.
and waited for a bit because, it was the perfect example of the conflict in your head when you see something in nature. Do
Yeah,
you intervene or not? But I think
true.
in this
True.
case, I mean, we waited for about 5-10 minutes. Wasn't able to get
Hmm.
out, and eventually the
Yeah.
driver got down and went and helped. So he
Yeah,
held
that's
the
yeah, yeah.
fawn by a limb and
Yeah.
pulled it out. which I think was the right thing to do, because in
True.
this case it wasn't entirely natural. The circumstance wasn't entirely natural.
Yeah,
The pond was created by
absolutely.
humans, right? So
Absolutely.
that's where
Absolutely. Yeah, yeah,
I think it's okay to
yeah.
interfere, and
True.
they
Yeah.
eventually, reunited. The mother and fawn reunited.
Yeah.
So
That's a lovely story. That's
yeah, it was,
yeah.
and when we came back, we actually. So I'm not sure, I grew up around Dr. John Singh, one of wildlife India's
I saw
top
your
wildlife
post.
biologists. Yeah.
Yeah, that
So
was very
after
yeah.
coming back, I told him this incident, and he asked me to write a mail to him, narrating the incident so that he could
Hmm.
take it up with the officials there and make the necessary changes to these ponds,
Yeah,
because
definitely.
of what had happened. And I have a picture of
Very
the
true.
pond
Yeah.
stuck in the
That's
pond. So I sent him
wonderful.
the picture and sent him a mail. He told me, he took it up with the officials, and I'm not sure they made the changes, but
Hmm.
that was an incident I just remembered while we were discussing
Hmm.
about tourism and Kanha and
Yeah.
everything.
Yeah, very true. Tourism, I mean, our observations can help so much also. Like, for
Exactly.
example, Neelam, I told you about when her cheek was torn by Mohini. If you are on safari and if you see a tiger and if it's injured, um, Kanha Forest Department does a superb job with helping tigers, especially, if they're injured through any means, if it's poaching or,
Hmm.
some fight or something. Their on-field, on-site field treatment is fabulous, and it's being implemented. The similar strategy is being used in other parks, like in Pench also.
Hmm.
Taruba is getting it more now. But yeah, tourist jeeps had actually seen Neelam with the torn flank, her cheek falling off. And it was the photos used by the tourists, and the guides took screen grabs of it, and then they sent it to their groups, and
Yeah.
then it was circulated to the forest department. And then eventually the forest department came and then they tranquilized her and they
Yeah.
did it. So
See,
yeah,
it
tourism
makes
does help
exactly.
so much. It does help
Exactly.
quite a bit, definitely. If you, yeah, like I said, if used rightly, it's a very important tool. One more thing to the viewers, don't be against those cement-made waterholes. I've heard a lot of photographers who actually like, I won't shoot a tiger if it's in this cement waterhole. Tiger is a tiger. Just enjoy your sighting. You want to take
Exactly.
photos, take. If you don't want, don't take. It's not asking you come take my photo. I'll pose for
Yeah.
you with this yawn,
Yeah.
teeth shot, whatever. Nothing like that. There are a few cement waterholes in Kanha,
Yeah.
definitely. And a lot of the waterholes that are built, like in Mukki, there's one called Baba Thenga. It's not made of cement. It's a huge area. It's built man-made. But there are large bunds around it in a way to
Okay.
help it off. And wildlife has thrived around it actually, because now in winter, whenever I go, I always look out on the other side of the waterhole. There's this one tree that's fallen down, the log that's there, and
Okay.
always you'll see turtles coming out to bath. So I looked at
Right.
like that. So definitely it does help. Yeah, but that's a fantastic. I never even thought about it. That's a lovely thing that
Yeah.
you've done, a lovely concern that you've raised, definitely, because most of these cement waterholes are designed for larger animals because tigers have paws they can grip on or they can just jump out. But definitely for smaller species.
Right.
Very true.
Also,
That's it.
speaking of waterholes, Dr. Sanjay Gubbi
Mm,
recently was speaking
mm,
at an event, and he had an interesting thing to say about waterholes. Where
mm.
in Nagarole and Bandipur, we've sort of there are man-made waterholes within the inside the
Huh.
forest. So
Yeah.
that has resulted in elephants not many of the elephants not embarking on their migratory journey
Yeah.
from Nagaroli to Bandipur, which they usually do, where they move towards
Yeah, yeah,
Kabini
yeah.
during the summer in
Mm,
search of water. So that
yeah.
has resulted in a decrease in natural mortality. So the populations are, there's a little bit of
Oh,
uh,
interesting.
yeah, which is very interesting.
Yeah.
There's because when an animal has to die, it has to die, right? We
True,
all
true.
understand that, which is
Mm,
becoming a little bit of an issue where the natural mortality isn't happening because
mm, mm.
many of these elephants during that migration end up
Mm.
facing natural
Yeah,
mortality, which isn't happening because many of them aren't even making that journey because of the
right.
presence of water holes within the forest. So that's an interesting
Mm.
perspective again. many of these topics have conflicted views and
Very true.
very,
Yeah.
very valid points on either sides of the
Hmm,
argument. So
hmm. Like I'll tell you,
interesting.
in
Right. Yeah.
Central India, like Tadoba is one of the best examples. In Kanha, quite a few. There are a few man-made waterholes here and there.
Correct.
There are a decent number. In Tadoba also there are quite a few. But
Correct.
the reason why they put these waterholes around is to help the equal distribution of water.
Correct.
Because I mean, water is the most precious natural
It's
resource
not
we
for
have on the.
sightings like people think it
Yeah,
is
yeah,
for. Yeah.
exactly,
It's not. Yeah.
exactly. And we always think of tigers coming into villages for cattle. Sometimes they go to the local talabs also that the same villagers use
Mm,
to bathe their buffalo, to make their cattle drink water, or even to get water themselves. So
mm,
even at water is also could, I mean, water definitely is a potential area of conflict, true,
correct.
for animals.
Correct.
And
Correct. True.
so they've built water holes inside the park. So animals, they have water there. They can drink there instead of, coming towards villages, and then obviously there's the human animal conflict there. Not just tigers, even elephants, as you mentioned,
Yeah.
or sloth bear. There's always going to be human wildlife conflict. I mean, over a period of time, it will hopefully should ease out with better
Yeah.
management and obviously respect towards local landowners and stakeholders. But
Correct.
yes, water definitely is one more thing to consider. Here in
Right.
Kanha, there is the Banjar River. So
Hmm.
it's one of the main lifelines of the park. There's another river
Hmm.
up north. But definitely in other places like Panna, Tadoba, Panna on the plateau above, especially. The
Hmm.
Ken River flows down below, but on the plateau above, there are quite a few man-made water bodies to help tigers.
Hmm. Okay. Before we finish, one
Hmm.
question that I think many of our viewers would love to know is to know about opportunities in wildlife. Are there opportunities to make a career in wildlife? What are the opportunities? What are the different sort of roles you can take up if you want to be involved in wildlife and wildlife conservation, ecotourism? Since you're very much part of that space right now, maybe you can shed some light on it.
Absolutely. See, safaris were everyone believes safaris to be a concept strictly and solely in Africa. I believe that also. I thought I'll have to be above 21, take the yellow fever injection, then I'll go on my first safari. But I managed to go in 2000. I then realized, "Arey, India's tiger safaris, wow. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
But ecotourism is a developing field in India. It's getting more and more popular. Ranbir Kapoor, Alia, but all these celebrities are now coming
Mm.
towards wildlife sanctuaries and tiger reserves in India. So that's wonderful. And Sachin Tendulkar also. He also loves
Mm.
going to Tadoba and whatnot here and there. But yeah, wildlife and ecotourism is a developing field. There's always opportunity and scope, but it's very important to know who you're working with, to work with the right people, with the right practices, right morals, right ethics also. Not all tour companies and groups may be as ethical as you may believe them to be. Most are, so just do your research. But yeah,
Yeah.
definitely a lovely growing field with fantastic potential and possibility. And yes, even when you go on safari, or if you're working or just going on safari as a visitor or tourist, you don't have to be working to create an impact, anything. And yes, there is scope for conservation now also. More money is being put into it, wildlife conservation. India is being more globally recognized. So there definitely is more scope. It's hard work,
Right.
but I do see potential definitely, especially for tourism.
Right.
So yeah.
So let's say I'm an 18-year-old studying a very conventional. An 18-year-old would have just finished his or her schooling.
Hmm,
So let's say I've gone through the traditional route of schooling and I've just completed that.
hmm,
Because I get these questions a lot, right? So
hmm.
I get a lot of questions saying I've just finished my 12th and I'm about to sit for
Yeah.
my your usual NEET, CET, all those exams,
Yeah,
and
yeah, yeah.
but my heart lies with wildlife and
Hmm,
nature. I want to get into the space. So how do I get into the space? So if for somebody who's around that
hmm.
age, let's say between 20 18 to 21, 22, 23,
Yeah.
somebody who doesn't have enough exposure to how the
Hmm.
wildlife space works and what the opportunities
Yeah.
in wildlife are, how would somebody like that get their foot in the door to, make a living and a career in wildlife? What would a path for somebody like that be?
See, I can't say everything because currently I'm also finding that path out for myself.
Correct.
But I'll say one thing is that volunteer, intern, look out for opportunities. There'll always be things here and there. Wildlife SOS, for example, they have these lovely volunteering opportunities where you can help where you can go to their centers wherever they are, help out with their rescued animals, elephant, even sloth bear also they have. You can prepare the food, help and clean the enclosures also. You may even get to interact with them.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's not like one of those sanctuaries where you pet them, pose for a photo,
Ah,
nothing
yeah.
like that. They also have very strict rules like that.
Yeah.
Then, of course, one more thing I would say is that do try to get involved with surveys. Like, I had a wonderful experience with the Pench Bird Survey, the second winter Pench Bird Survey in Pench, Maharashtra. Every year there are these surveys, and it's not just for birds. There are ones for butterflies. There's one, I mean, now even Pench is doing a crocodile survey also. There are, obviously, there's the All India Tiger Estimation. It never hurts just to apply. Even if you may not get accepted, you can still try. And
Correct.
see, um, typically for the All India Tiger Estimation, you need to have some experience of being in the working with the forest department in
Correct.
previous surveys.
Correct.
So I applied for the Pench bird survey. I got it because it's a bird surveys and butterfly surveys are more basic. Tiger estimation requires a little more experience, but
Mm.
the tiger estimation may require a little more experience. But if you do more bird surveys over a period of time, when you apply, they'll ask you,
Correct.
what experience do you have? Have you attended
Exactly. You
surveys
have
like that?
enough.
You list that, and then you have a better chance of getting accepted. And that's
Exactly.
essentially what it is.
Yeah.
So
So
yeah,
yeah.
surveys and
Go on. Go on.
volunteering and even just being in the wild, honestly. Mother Nature is the greatest teacher. Go out, explore, learn.
True.
Because whatever textbook knowledge we read, there'll always be something that defies that. You can
100%.
never generalize anything about wildlife. So yeah.
For sure. I agree. To summarize what Kian just said, there's always volunteering opportunities with a lot of NGOs, the forest department, because there's a huge, I mean, difference in terms of
Mm,
demand and supply of people who go out and volunteer. Because there's always a requirement for people to go help volunteer. Like Kian just mentioned, with surveys, with population estimates, with a lot of things,
mm,
conservation efforts in general. And a lot of these
mm.
NGOs are like constantly looking out for people to go volunteer and help
Absolutely.
out. So that would be like a place to begin. You go sign up for these things. I mean, everything's up on social media these
Mm.
days. So just
Even
sort
if
of
you do
follow the
those,
right.
even if you do those short courses like BNHS has this little
Yeah,
naturalist training
yeah,
program or the ornithology course or anything, you do that, you meet new people, and then those new people
exactly,
may have something that you can help in also.
exactly. You
So you
may
meet new
come.
people, build new contacts, everything.
Yeah,
So yeah.
exactly. Yeah. So yeah, maybe do some of these courses, which they're all accessible right now, right? With social
They're
media
very
these days, you,
accessible.
I
Mm.
mean, you get regular updates with what's going on. So follow the right pages, and these NGOs are always in need of a lot of. They need a helping hand at all times. So go do it, and just think about the experience. Go do it. Do some volunteering,
Mm.
and I'm sure you can sort of slowly make a career out of it. Yeah,
Definitely.
I agree. Okay, uh, I think that's about it, Kian. It was lovely
Lovely.
chatting with you. Thank you so much for your
Of
time.
course. Thank you for having me. It was so
No, not at
wonderful.
all.
One
Thank you.
last thing I'd like to say.
Yeah.
You talk about the tiger being too charismatic and everything, no overshadowing other animals. What's your wallpaper behind? Hmm?
That's my curtain.
Hypocrite, hypocrite, all you viewers.
I've got to have one tiger picture, despite, and since it's in my
Oh
room, nobody can
no.
see.
Hmm.
But I think it was a bad idea to use
Let
this
them
as
know
the
who you
background for
really
this
are.
chat.
No, no, that's absolutely
Yeah.
fine. Love
But
tigers,
yeah,
but love
thank you so
more than
much,
that.
Kian, for your time. It was lovely chatting
Anytime.
with you. And I think we should do this more. And I was speaking to Sahir recently, Shan recently. It's so
Hmm.
nice. A lot of us are, think we can call ourselves young enough to, we're sort of on this similar mission of bringing wildlife into the limelight and, having people know about these things. So lovely having you. We
Absolutely.
should
Thank you so
we
much. It
should
was an
keep in
honor.
touch, speak again sometime, hopefully.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much,
Definitely.
Kian.